So for this episode of 90 Day Fiance, I want to talk about Bilal and Shaeeda and Biniyam and Ari. Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Debbie. I am the she in Sheality TV. And so today I'm going to talk about Shaeeda and Bilal and Ari and Biniyam. Let's start with Ari and Biniyam. Okay, so now I guess they've gotten their 90-day visa and Biniyam is in New York, right? So they're in wherever it is. She lives in a suburb of New York. She doesn't live in New York City. She lives just outside of New York City. I can't remember where. It's like completely blowing my mind right now. It's completely escaping me, but she lives in a suburb of New York City. And so she and Biniyam go to the city and, you know, she wants to show him the city because this is all new to him, right? So he loves the city, and I don't know what it is about people who don't live in North America or people who live like in the Caribbean or whatever that makes them think that living in a city like New York is not expensive. Like when Ari took Biniyam to, you know, to enjoy the city, and that's great, they enjoyed the city, he decided that, well, you know, he wants to live in New York City. Well, neither of them is working, right? And I don't understand why sometimes the American will kind of get chapped at the foreigner for, you know, well, oh, well, you don't have a job. Well, you can't get a job, right? It's going to be at least 6 months before he can get a job or before he can get the paperwork that lets him get a job, right? So I know they're on a 90-day timeline for marriage, but it usually takes a lot longer than that because he can't apply for a work visa until he's married, right? Or I don't know how that works. Neither of them is working, and he's decided that he wants to live in New York City. Now, New York City is one of the most expensive places on the planet to live. And he thinks, oh, well, you know what? It's not that big a deal. We can just move to New York, right? So she gets pissed at him because they can't afford it. And she says that everything falls on her. He doesn't have a job. She doesn't have a job. Because he's like, well, you know, if rent is more expensive, then, you know, you'll get paid more money, right? And that, ideally speaking, that makes sense. But life doesn't work that way. So she kind of says that. She says, you know what? It's all well and good for you to think that you want to live in New York City, but New York is a very expensive place to live, and neither one of us is working. And she's kind of chapped at her mom for getting a 2-bedroom apartment instead of the one that she said she wanted, and then dropping on her that she's going to have to pay for it. And I mean, on the one hand, I can see her point, but on the other, I think, you're lucky your mother got you a decent place. Would you want her to get you a rat hole to live in with your baby? Like, so I get why she's worried, but I also don't get why she's worried because Biniyam is an able-bodied human being. He can work, right? So nothing much happens with them. They're just, you know, cruising the city and having this conversation about how neither of them is working, and, you know, she doesn't know how they're gonna get by, like once they have to start paying for their place. So yeah, nothing much really happens with them. Oh, when they go to the airport, when Biniyam like goes to the airport, leaves for the States, his family comes to meet them at the airport to say goodbye. Like, it's like they brought the whole family. The evil stepsisters or the evil sisters, they all come to the airport and they bring their kids to say goodbye. I hate saying goodbye at the airport like that. Like, if it's a big family thing, let's do it at the house the day before, and then I can chill and just go to the airport and relax. Not have, you know, the entire country coming to the airport to say goodbye. I hate that. But anyway, so they come to the airport to say goodbye to Binny, and Binny and Ari's son is asleep in the car, right? So he's fallen asleep with the nanny. And they don't want, like, the sisters want to say goodbye to the baby. Oh, we want to say goodbye to the baby. The baby does not know, nor does he give a shit. He doesn't know, let the boy sleep, right? Regardless, whether he's sleeping or not, you're nasty to his mother. Like, nasty to his mother. So naturally, Ari says no. No, you're not, don't get near my child. And he's sleeping anyway. I'm not waking him up to say goodbye to you guys. And they get all bent out of shape about that. Oh, she's rude. She's this, she's that. She owes me an apology. Now, this is one of the sisters, I don't know, Dream or Wish or whatever the hell their name is, saying that Ari owes her an apology. For what? Who threw wine in whose face? Why do you need an apology for what? I'm sorry, I can't stand his sisters. Yes, Ari's not the best to them, but they're shitty to each other, right? So I get it. It's for some families, it's a thing to everybody go to the airport and say goodbye. But if I was Ari, I would have said no too. You want to say goodbye to my kid, but you're shitty to me and you throw wine in my face? No, get lost. I don't want you touching, don't come near my child. And you know what? She's actually thankful that she doesn't have to see them anymore. And I would be too. I can't say I blame her. So anyway, they get on the plane, they get to the States to find out that mom and dad have rented them a 2-bedroom, quite spacious 2-bedroom apartment. So they're all thankful. It's great. It's not furnished. They do have a bed, and I don't know whether or not the baby has a bed. I didn't see one, but they've got a bed. They've got some kitchen utensils and that kind of stuff, which is, you know what? It's really great of her parents. Ari seems to be fine with it until her mother says, you know, at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later, you guys will start paying for this stuff on your own. It's not until then that Ari has, like she starts to stress about, you know, how they're going to pay for their place, how are they going to maintain themselves as a family? How are they going to pay for anything? Neither of them is working. Binny can't work for however long. It's going to take him 90 days before he can get his, you know, whatever. They have to get married in 90 days. And then he's going to apply for all of his, you know, all of his paperwork to be able to work. So he can't work before then. But it's weird to me because I didn't get the vibe that she was stressed before her mother said, hey, yo, we're not going to be paying for this stuff for the rest of eternity. You're going to have to, you know, you guys are going to have to pay for it. She wasn't worried before then. So was she expecting her parents to pay for hers and her soon-to-be husband and child's lifestyle indefinitely? I don't know, but anyways, Biniyam sisters are bitches, and that's pretty much all that happened with them. Biniyam decided that he wants to live in New York City. Now, you don't have to live in New York City to know that it's one of the most expensive cities to live in. But I don't know, does he not know this? Does he not, I don't know, does he not pick up a book or a magazine or newspaper or something? Does he not know? How can you not know? I don't know. Anyway, Ari tells him that, you know, we can't live in New York. It's very expensive to live in New York. And he says, well, if it's expensive to live in New York, you know, so the rent goes up, so your pay goes up. I'm paraphrasing because he said something like that, but I can't remember the exact words. So I don't know, he just thinks, well, commonsensically, if you're paying a ton for rent, you should be getting paid a ton at your job. And that's just not how it works. You and I both know that ain't how it works. I don't know why he doesn't know that that's how it works, but whatever. That's pretty much all that happens with them. Not much else. Let's move on to Shaeeda and Bilal. This is the episode where they're in the car and, because I know they've been previewing this for God knows how many weeks, where they're in the car and he says something to her and she kind of taps him on the back of the head. Like, you know, it's just a little, you know, oh, you're so silly tap on the back of the head. And he gets all chapped, talking about how that's abuse and you don't put your hands on people, don't put your hands on me and all this other kind of nonsense. And this is where he says that he's gonna drop her off on the side of the road. I'm like, on the highway. So I'm like, I don't know about you guys, but I would be out of that car and in an Uber back to his place. I would pack my shit and I would be at the airport the next day. No questions, no conversation. Because that kind of behavior, the kind of behavior that he is exhibiting on someone who just got to the country, it's just rude. Even if she was someone that he was used to in person, that's just rude. I'm sorry, rude. I'm gonna put you out of this car. What was she, like 10? What? How do you threaten the person that left her country, she left her home to come and be with you, and you say this shit? I don't like him. Anyways, she meets his kids and tells his kids that, you know, eventually she wants them to call her mom, like a version of mom, but it's in a different language. But she essentially wants them to call her mom. And I'm like, why can they not just call her by her first name? Right? They're not her kids. And as their mother, I would have a problem with that. I'd be like, no, I don't care. I don't care if you are a bonus mom. They're not calling you mom. in any language. I don't care. They can call you by your first name, but they're not calling you mom. And yeah, I feel like because she's, what is she, 37? She had no kids, never been married. I feel like she's in this big hurry. And she wants babies and he doesn't know whether or not he wants kids. It's like, dude, you dragged her all the way from her country thinking that you wanted kids and you don't want kids? You rude. I don't like him. I don't like him. I don't see her as being a gold digger, and he thought that she was a gold digger. Remember, he took her to his old house, like the house that he grew up in, to see her reaction. That was rude. And then when they're having brunch with his parents, with his mom and his sisters, he actually tells his mother that he pulled that prank on her because they knew about the prank. And then they asked how she reacted, and he said, well, you know, she was kind of angry and, you know, just kind of made her look like crap. You know what I mean? For her reaction. And I don't know anybody who wouldn't have reacted that way, given the person that he showed her that he was when he went to her country. I don't know anybody who wouldn't have reacted the way she did. I know I would. I would have been like, dude, you catfished me. Because that's essentially what he did. He catfished her. Pick her up in a white van and then... I can't. I cannot with this dude. I can't. I can't stand him. I can't. And as for her making excuses for him and, oh, well, you know, he's really a good person, and I don't care. I don't care. Not at all. After they had the little thing on the highway where he threatened to pull over, he pulls over, and then they're talking and kind of waiting it out, and then he starts driving again. He's going to pick up his kids for this service, but he doesn't tell her that. So he gets to wherever it is that he's picking up his kids, presumably at their mother's house, and he gets out of the car and walks away. Doesn't tell her anything. Doesn't say, you were here or whatever. She says, so is this it? He doesn't say anything. He gets out of the car, goes and gets the kids, and she's looking like, where did he go? And he comes back. Then she sees the kids, or she hears the kids, and she says, oh, he's picking up his kids. And I'm just like, that's 2 red flags in one car trip. 2 red flags in one car trip. And you don't think, yeah, I'm not doing this. I don't know how she's getting paid, because she's in the US and she can't get paid because she doesn't have papers. Same with Kobe and, like, they're in Ari and Biniyam's position. Kobe, Biniyam, what's his name? Muhammad, all these people who bring these people here who don't have any money and can't work for X number of months, right? I'm sorry, I couldn't. No, I'm not looking to support a grown-ass man because I think I want to. No, I can't do that. Sorry, I couldn't. But, and worse than complain when they get here because they can't work, right? Anyways, she meets the ex-wife, and yeah, they seem pretty cool, and that's pretty much it. While they're at the service, Bilal kind of ignores her because he's still pissed about what happened in the car. And I'm like, I don't like him. That's 3 red flags. 2 in the car and 1 at the, like, how many do you need? How many? Anyway, yeah, she ignores him with the exception of introducing her to his ex-wife. But yeah, I don't know. This dude, he's a giant walking red flag. Plain and simple. That's all I got for this episode of OG 90 Day Fiance. Again, and as usual, thank you so much for watching. I will try and do videos more often, and I'll see you next time.